Hi, this is Lisa Varonis, and I'm going to be demonstrating a couple things that you can do using the numbers spreadsheet software that comes with your iPad. So I've opened up here a blank spreadsheet, and I'm just going to type some letters in. Notice it's left justified. If I type some numbers in, it immediately right justifies because a number is recognized as something that's probably going to be justified to the right so that the numbers can be added up and make more sense like that. I've put some time into data that is probably of interest to all of us right now, and that is the number of cases in Ohio and in the United States of coronavirus. So I'll be building some charts out of that so you can see what that looks like. But first, I want you to notice that column D is sort of wider than the other columns. That's because I did that on purpose so that the URLs there that indicate the data sources fit on one line. So if you want to do that, select the letter related to the column whose width you want to change, and then you'll notice the two parallel lines to the right over there. You just drag them any way you want to go. If I make that a lot more narrow, then the row itself is going to get longer to accommodate the data that is in the row. So there will never be data you can't see because you didn't, manually fix it in order to be able to see the whole thing. It will wrap itself and automatically make the cell bigger so that you can see all the data that's in the cell. All right, but the real point to this is the numbers. So let's look first at what's going on in Ohio. So I'm going to grab date, and I'm going to grab the column cases in Ohio and drag down. And I could keep on dragging and then run the risk my finger's going to go right off the bottom because it started moving too fast. So instead I stopped there, and now I'm going to select that circle to the bottom right of the box of the data I selected and drag it down. And this allows me to select all the data that is in there. Notice cell actions just opened up when I lifted my finger. I'm going to select cell actions. What I want to do in this window that opens to the right is select create a new chart. So I'm doing all of this with my finger, and I'm just going to go sort of vanilla for this one, and I'm going to check, I'm going to select the chart in the upper left. It's a 2D chart, and I only have one kind of data in here right now, which is for the state of Ohio. And, well, this tells us a number of things. I think it can be really helpful to look at a chart in, or look at data in chart form. One, the curve is exponential. It's going higher and higher and higher, but look at what's happening the last couple of days. I'm going to drag this out so you can see that more clearly. I've got my finger on the ball that was at the left in the y-axis, and when I drag it out like that, you see things sort of stretched. And the good news is that it looks like the rate of increase of cases in the state of Ohio is leveling off a bit. If that continues, boy, that'll be really good news because it will mean we will have hit our peak and hopefully we'll be on the way down soon. So I'm going to close that up a little bit more and then show you what happens when I grab a wider selection. So I'm going to do this the easy way by selecting what I've already, and that wasn't such an easy way. Never mind. I'm just coming up to the top again and dragging down. And then I'm going to drag that little ball further down. So now I've got that whole area selected, including cases in Ohio, cases in the United States. I'm going to select cell actions. Again, create a new chart. And I'm going to pick the same kind of a chart. And you can see what happens. What happens is a bit of a problem because the Ohio numbers are so minimal compared to the United States numbers that it's very difficult to see anything about the shape of that curve. As you could see here, blue is Ohio. Blue's got a curve. Here, blue is still Ohio. You sort of see it at the bottom right. Towards the left, you don't even see it at all. But it's a little meaningless without really being able to see what it's doing on its own axis, because at this point, this graph has automatically created a y-axis that goes up to 400,000. So we've got the chart selected, and we're going to select the format painter, and that is the paintbrush, the top right of the screen. And notice under chart for the format painter, I have the option of picking another chart type. So rather than the 2D column, which doesn't help a whole lot comparing two things that have very different data points, I'm going to select 2D 2-axis. Let's see what happens there. And I'll select the format painter paintbrush just to get rid of that. And we can see better here because on the left, we have the axis for Ohio, it goes up to 5,000. And on the right, we have the axis for United States, it goes up to 400,000. Once again, this chart is showing us that Ohio seems to be leveling off, whereas the United States still seems to be going up pretty quickly. Maybe we can say it's because of the fact we're all staying at home and we're all being extremely careful. And I think that our governor has shown some real leadership in, trying to suggest things that we could do to help us deal with this. I'm going to select the format painter again, and let us pick another chart type. And this time, why don't we go for 3D column? And 3D column is very cool to look at. Notice you can also spin it. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense with all of this data in here, Ohio and the United States, but it might be more interesting if, or more revealing if it were only one set of data we were looking at instead of two. And all right, what I'd like you to do is fool around with the types of charts that you can create. And with your own data, with this data, I will make this spreadsheet available to you so you can fool around with it if you want. One more type of data which can be of some interest is the interactive column. It looks like the data all disappeared. I'm going to get rid once again of the format toolbar there. But notice this ball to the right, and if I drag the ball, it's below the graph. If I drag the ball right, then I see this growth over time. We have the maximum cases in Ohio on the left, that's in the blue, maximum cases in the US on the right. And so that can be sort of an interesting thing to do, and that is called an interactive graph. It goes up and down as you move the ball in the interactive toolbar underneath the chart.